sets the precedent. And yes, yesterday we learned that G2 can have a hell of a turnaround between map 1 and map 2. So we have to keep that in mind if things don't go well for them. But they start on that CT side, and let's get into it. Heroic taking to the offense and heading towards B early.
Oh, it looks like a fast exec is coming the way, just all out monster.
Incredibly quick, and I mean there's defense here to stop it. 4 members for G2 kind of ready for this, so let's just go blow for blow and see who comes out on top of the first fight. Nexa and Jax and Amanek all with a kill of their own, so this has gone excellently. Sure, Cadian, he'll get one in the end, but that leaves Borup in a near impossible clutch. 3 of the 4 CTs, however, are 1 bullet away from death. So this is kind of that sketchy formula. If it wasn't for those flashbangs in the middle of it all, maybe G2 lose a couple bodies, but that's a team ace from G2 to start the day.
Teams don't rush monster on the pistol all that often, just because of the way spawns work on the CT side, where you can get info on A and overstack B. But that doesn't mean it's not a viable thing to try. And sometimes people will go for atypical setups on the CT side, which means, you know, of course, you can gamble and go for the rush. The gamble doesn't pay off here for Heroic, but it doesn't matter too much for them. They're still going to be buying down to the bottom dollar. These 4 deeks, some armor buys, and a few sets of smoke grenades. G2 will try to get some initial damage off. It's successful, but now they'll fall back to the site while Heroic try to kind of circumvent the operation, go for long control here. And even though they're spreading the map, they're starting to get their claws inside of bathrooms and out towards long.
Clearing it out slowly. This is sketchy, man. G2, you play with too much respect on a round like this. Could very well take a scout shot to the chest. Could get an entire armada of smoke grenades being thrown over the top of the A site. And then suddenly you've got Deagles up close and personal. kennyS with the MP5. Now, I'm an SMG connoisseur, Mohan. I'm a big fan of the weapon class. And the MP5 versus the MP7 is an argument I don't even think we should have. MP7 reduced to $1,500 is just statistically the far better weapon. But the MP5 looks cool. That really is what it boils down to. Amanek looks great. Hiding in the corner for the first one. Nico's able to trade it. Now kennyS is going to tag up Cadian. And seeing as he is the player with no armor, I take back what I said. The MP5 should do great work, but it still goes down. There's actually quite a few casualties here being racked up by Heroic and Cadian. A valiant attempt to take over that A site, but Nexa survives the assault. And his FAMAS moves forward alongside Jax.
At $1,500, you couldn't be less wrong.
Money, unlike last round where they were a little fearful of, say, the scouts and the armored deagle players. They knew they had a massive edge in this one, so I like it. We're making big cash here for G2, but they don't want to die if they can avoid it, and so far they have. Just Borup left over. It's a flawless start for G2, not only in the fact that they get 5 guys up in this one, not only the fact that they milk the SMGs for all the money they can, but Heroic, they give up that 0-3 start. 0-3 across the scoreboard as well for 3 of the 5 players from Heroic.
They only have 1 FAMAS on Nexa, so it looks like one of the SMGs will drop, and kennyS will pick up an op. This will be really annoying for Heroic, you know, to lose a round like this, because there's barely any upgrades that come into it. kennyS is going to want to carry forward the op no matter what happens this round, and they're investing themselves so much more with these AKs, buying down to 0, where G2 still have a huge bank. So that 3rd round is arguably the most important of the 3. Pistols don't affect the economy as much as, you know, winning an anti-eco as cleanly as they just did. So now we'll see if they can take that and turn that into a real hot start, or if Heroic can try to quell the momentum just a tiny bit. But they're going to be kind of scared, you know, opening up sites with these AKs, knowing the SMGs are going to be in more gimmicky, crafty positions.
Yeah, tucked in the corners, hiding in the cubbies, and all the while, with those SMGs kind of hidden away, you also have this op on kennyS floating on the A site.
Yeah.
Could be difficult for Amanek to hang on to this, seeing as it's an ump, and there could be multiple players pushing him, but for the moment, it's just TeSeS floating around long. And I mean, we've got to talk about TeSeS. He looked incredible yesterday versus Endpoint. Oh, there it is. Emanek trying to get a little bit of aggressive there. I mean, that's not going to play into the favor of the ump at all, but it is just the 1 kill on long. It's the B hit they're going for, and it's the B stack that G2 are holding on with. So the Molotovs go down, and Hunter is able to best one. Jax confirming there's 2 players on Monster, and it's an excellent flashbang set up by Nexa. He is 6-0 at the start of this game. 20 seconds remain, and TeSS trades as Hunter is the last man standing from the original hold, but Kenny S gets into position in time, cutting down the short player and looking for more. G2 Esports 4-0 start despite all those SMGs.
They've got a real bone to pick with Heroic, because the last time that they played, Heroic got away with so much aggression. And for players like G2, who I'm sure they believe in their talent 100%, to lose to crazy pushes, to lose to so much speed, they were probably extremely frustrated to lose in that fashion. I'm sure a lot of the conversation coming into this match is, how do we deal with it? How do we not respect it? And what are we going to expect when they come through? Now, a flash is required to help them with this. Jax goes down 1 for 1 with the Mac 10 out, but now this choke point has been busted wide open. Hunter and back pit versus these Ts, who now have significant amount of control inside of B already at 130.
Yeah, this is a fast curveball coming into the B site. You know, G2, they were able to play their flashbangs, play their post stuff in the previous round. They found the timing better of it, but here we have it. A little bit of a recovery expedition from Hunter, getting aggressive, not allowing Heroic to slot into what they'd hoped for. And still yet they haven't taken that M4 back. Stown's got his hands on it, close left to Hunter, who's more so fixated on short, which allows Nexa to walk in. And there it is, just crisp headshots all over the place. G2 in full recovery mode after that explosive start from Heroic. Sure, they exploded into the B site, but they didn't get very far.
We're looking at a Heroic's pick, for those of you who are just joining us, and G2 are clearly playing with more confidence right now. You see that one duel where Nexa crouch peeks into the left side on the Monster? That's because he knows exactly what Heroic are setting up to do. People take out Monster, they'll sit there. They were literally waiting for someone to make a mistake versus Stown, but it couldn't have been more obvious. Nexa, as you can see, just absolutely lines it up, no problem. And there's this crossfire between him and the Barrels player in Hunter. Now, I wonder why Heroic didn't just continue with the aggression when they got the opening pick. Going 1 for 1 is a pretty good start. And they also know that someone was flashing for Monster. They have, kind of an idea of where the second player will be. And they picked up a gun as well. So with a round like that, this is not what you'd always expect from Heroic. Sometimes you'd just see more unfettered aggression, just real, just kind of like juggernauting across the site. But that's not what we saw just now. And now Heroic will have to try to buy up again. Stown drops an op to Cadian. So this round will be probably a bit more technical, a bit slower paced. The contrast with the rifle round, where it was also kind of slow. But G2 have made this wonderful transition over into full rifles with some money left over and retaining the op on Kenny S. And that's got to be kind of frustrating for Heroic to see.
Yeah, some 5-0 starts aren't this convincing, but I mean, making the most of all those SMG players in the third round after they had lost a lot of economy in the second. And now, with conviction, we start to see G2 get a little more playful here, trying to peek out from party at the start, but it is TeSS no longer alone. He's got Cadian with Op and Bob beside him, and Cadian wants this contact. Cadian versus Kenny S. I mean, come on. Who doesn't want to see this?
Yeah, everyone. People are lining up around the block to see this duel. And Overpass is one where you're just going to see them go head-to-head a lot of the time at bathrooms. It just feels so comfortable on both sides. It's one of those maps where it almost feels just as fun to op on T side as it does on CT. Maybe a little bit more scary for the Ts, but there's so many open lines and so many different ways, and because the map is so fluid, so many different ways for people to run into each other. But Almanac doing a bit better here at long now. Here's the op duel we were all waiting for. Kenny S spots and falls back. Could have been an unfair fight for Cadian, who had just shot his teammate. But now that there's a bit of a reset, some information gained from G2, it's hard to say where the next duel will come.
Borup's not going to get too affected by the Molotov. Still, he jumps up. Kenny S looking in and gets him, even falling back around the corner. There's Cadian, and it's an exchange of shots, but both snipers stand. Heroic looking to make some ground off of this, but it's not just Kenny. He's got a teammate if he even needs him. Oh, Kenny holding it down as Hunter gets the last. It's a 6th round for G2. It looks good.
Yeah, that looks awesome. That was 2015, Kenny. Funnily enough, the only shots that were missed really were these shots between the two oppers shooting at each other, shooting blanks at long outside bathrooms. But overall, yeah, that was a classic Kenny S round, looking very strong. I mean, G2 win this game, let alone win it convincingly. This would stand in the face of all of their recent results. Again, their last 7 games, the only series they won versus Endpoint. And they have been able to pick up one map in each of those series. And it's important to look and contextualize the losses. But if you look at the losses, you see that the maps they lost, they usually got stomped on. Like some of these maps they lost were 16-7 on either side of a 16-14 victory. Like they have genuinely looked like the worst team in a lot of these games. And partly that is due to Kenny S's form dropping off. That's due to Jax's form dropping off. That's due to Ominek's form dropping off. So it seems like some of that is changing right before our eyes. And Heroic, started off on such a high just a couple of weeks ago. And now suddenly look fallible for the first time in the last month.
There's some frustrated tweets coming out of G2's players yesterday after that series with Astralis, but, I saw the takeaway from Jax was, let's just focus on the positive of Dust 2. That win, that comeback, that gave him a little bit of fire, gave him a little pizzazz, and it is with the Flames that Heroic attempt to exchange kills inside of the B site. Enough has been done with just pistols to give them a very real chance. Tesses. He is insight on bomb planting. Amanek jumping into the water. Just spotted the last man in Borup, who needs to get his first and second kill of the map if he's going to win this clutch. Now the smoke's up in front of him. Heroic trying to rely on the smoke spam to stop defuse, which they will. And now Amanek, he's shooting for the 3K, but he jumps right back on bomb. He's going to come at it from a different angle, and the lineup doesn't work. Borup, yes, he gets the kills, but I think stopping the defuse was more crucial.
And we know Borup from recent statistics is the most clutch player on Heroic. I think one of the best clutch players in Europe right now. And we saw a glimpse of that just now. Perfect lineup on the diffuser. And there was a chance, of course, for Ominek to win. If the sandbag wasn't obscuring his vision on the right side, that smoke was coming up, he would have had a moment to be able to adjust his aim to the perfect spot. But by that same token, Ominek had a smoke and flash in his hands, decided not to throw it, and threw caution to the wind. Either way, that's a kind of a messy round there in the post plant from Heroic. That's one that they could have picked up with a successful opening rush. But talk about successes, that is a fantastic spam from Nico. Don't know how that doesn't count as a smoke kill.
Right? Yeah, I was just thinking that. But
could there have been any more smoke there? About it. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Bada boom. 2 AUG frags off of long A. It's a hell of a way to recover. Because like you said, there could not have been more smoke. Nico, you even saw him once he connects that first headshot, just kind of fires more bullets as if maybe Lady Luck would grace him with a second, but not the case. And Amanek, I mean, that's just exactly what you're hoping for. You lose your man advantage. Somebody needs to get proactive elsewhere. Not only getting the 4v4, not only getting away, but that second frag from Amanek. He is now sitting pretty at 9-5, 111 ADR at the start of this round. It's gonna pump the numbers. But the clock ticks down. We've got enough positioning here from Heroic to just go into this A site, and it is Amanek alone. So he is fighting the entire team of Heroic so far this round. They are going to get that scramble, rotate back up. Amanek is flashed, and Stound, nice whip around. Oh, but the frag grenade from Hunter over top of the dumpster is good enough to trade it back. Nico, quick headshot. The last 2 B players have to come running in as Borup commits to plant, but it gets canceled. Yeah, that's huge. 10 seconds left over. He's going to wait out the Molotov, and then he has no extra moment. So they could 2v1 versus Nico right now, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Borup in with another clutch, but can he close it? No! Nexa is going to get the edge this time. His 11th frag and G2's 8th round.
Another round that Heroic could have won, but we have to give it up to the utility usage. Just wonderful there from CT Spawn. The original AT was to stop the bomb plant, but they didn't hear the bomb getting put down. He just kind of went off an audible or where his teammate last calmed it and just launched it, and it was on spot. It was just great. Of course, This round is largely brought to you in part by Omenek, making it easier with those first 2 kills. But he has a bit of a misstep on the players coming in with the double flash, popping behind his entering opponent, and yet still G2 bring that back. The Molly, of course, as well. Love the lineup off of the windshield wipers onto default. Yeah, that's a great bank, and that just delayed long enough to make Heroic uncomfortable, and that is what this game has been all about. Now, Heroic are getting closer and closer to being able to close out these rounds, but at the same time, G2 are playing well in these very tight situations where they appear to be disadvantaged.
Heroic taking their time.
I think there's more room for Augs on Overpass. There's more room for Augs on Train. I think basically any map, the AUG is better than the M4, a little bit more expensive, but if you're winning, it kind of feels like there's enough space. It doesn't really, sometimes you don't want to opt because it takes away some of what you can do rotationally on the CT side or on T side. It reduces some of your mobility, but the AUG doesn't really do anything like that. It's good. It's better than a rifle for some of these longer ranges, like on Long A, where we saw Omenek.
Sure.
It's got the scope, so if you can't afford the op, it has some of the added benefit of being able to take these long-range duels comfortably. Kills faster than an M4. I mean, really, the only impediment is the cost, and it's not that much more money. I think right now, if you're having a decent game, it would be a better one if you just picked up the AUG a few more times on CT side.
I think people, kind of let it slip under the radar when the Krieg was so heavily nerfed, but the AUG wasn't. Statistically, the AUG is still very viable.
Hopefully,
it's a matter of comfort.
Yeah, hopefully it comes to a point where people are comfortable, but we don't find out that the AUG is like the same level. Even though it could technically be,
Sure.
We'll see.
Uh-oh. Little misbank Nate. Thank you for your patience, folks. We had a little internet stuff with G2, but hey, it's all resolved now. Quick turnaround. And
thanks, AT&T.
Flying start. Yeah. Ooh, frag grenades all over the place. Smoke grenades. Replace it. So Heroic, they're waiting for their chance to explode into B, but utility is what prevents them from going in just yet. Now, this would be awful if G2 was getting very adventurous elsewhere on the map, but you can see those 2 A players still, well, now at this point, starting to fall slightly towards the B side. I think they know this is a scramble. The Molotov stops it. Nexus trying to line up shots, and while substantial damage has been done, it is the edge here for Heroic. Kenny S getting down into the site before bomb can ever be planted, looking for his opening, and he gets his position towards Graffiti, but Borup swings out wide, takes him down, leaves Amanek to the clutch, and there you have it, Heroic on the board. It took 9 rounds, but the 5-man monster play pans out.
They actually did very poorly to get only 2 kills with a setup like that. We saw Nexa was waiting for that specific exec behind their smoke. They threw the double grenades at the end of Monster. They saw the flash go over. Nexa pre-fired the smoke. That was still up. They threw the Molotov down. They had 3 people peek simultaneously behind the Monster play, and all the T's were coming through the exact right choke point. So if you played that round again, Nexa would call the exact same setup because to him that was a perfect read. They just kind of got unlucky, and Heroic should be a little bit worried that that was a setup they ran into, because it was it should have been a pretty decent one.
The result of 8 rounds, 1 in a row, but a single breakthrough from Heroic is a little bit of a save call here, Launders. We've got 3 Deagles, Smoke, and Kevlar, but obviously so much cash still stacked up for G2 that they're a full-fledged buy in the next one. For G2's sake, hoping to maybe just take down a couple of heads here for Heroic. Kenny S back at the A site. Doesn't see anything but the grenades sailing inwards. And there's not just 1 or 2, but a full-blown execute. No damage off of the Deagle. Trying to find something.
Really love the nades that are being used. Super simple. No kind of wall smoke. No way to rotate in.
Yep.
Just bank and CT. Molly out the spots that you can't clear coming from long and just focus on long.
And then, once the smokes begin to fade and the CTs remain, take them away. Cadian. 2 op shots connecting here. Oh, there's Nexa to answer. Kadian's going to rely on... Yeah?
They actually want to get ops. I think that's why they were all facing him. You know, just $100 every kill. It's like, Kadian, go get up the bat.
Ooh. Sure. Why not go for it?
Yeah.
Aminek's going to die with bomb. Committed to the cause. Nice attempt from G2 to do some damage. They do take 2 players down, but the ops pick back up by Nico. So at the end of the day, it's just a second one for Heroic. It's the reward for breaking through the 8-0 start, Launders. They got the lower economy of G2 resolved, and as said, all of the cash that G2 needed was very clearly coming back here in the 11th. So it's not easy days for Heroic at all, but it is nice to see a nice clean, full-blown execute to the A site, wasting no time either. Let's see if Heroic can kind of kick into gear here with a bit of newfound confidence.
You can see how easily you can eat through the money on the CT side, even though the last 2 rounds that they lost were obviously 5 dead, with Heroic saving 1, and then 1 round where it was a 1v1 where G2 came out ahead. These are the 2 rounds with Borup, I believe. But right before that, they had a majority of rounds won with 4 alive. And yet still they get their economy broken so badly. And with the full loss bonus here for Heroic, this characterizes a comeback. Economically speaking, this is the situation it would occur with the new economy. So we'll see how that goes. G2 could end it here a little bit, but Kenny S on that naked op. Everybody else is on half armor, and not a single kid on the board here for G2.
Watching from the jump spot, Kenny S almost catching Kadian on a tendency, but instead it's down to be rocked away. 5 versus 4 for G2. Like you said, the economy is setting things up for a comeback, but that relies... Oh, and it works. Right eye peek into the bathrooms. Down goes Kenny at the hands of Kadian. Hunter in connector does manage to best Nico. That's going to leave an open route towards the A site, but don't you forget for a moment that Aminek, he's still committed down towards long. Of course, Heroic wary of it, laying down a smoke grenade to keep him out of the equation as Borup does punish that connector player. So it's not going to be the 3-pronged assault.
Oh,
at least not back through mid. Perfect timing on it. There's Tesses with Kadian's assist, taking Aminek out, and another kill off of the sniper. Kadian doing work here, opening up the A site, and then ensuring the post plant with utility and an additional kill. Tesses seals the deal. Heroic breaking through.
It was almost a big trap there that they had a player at long, because it made the retake look tempting, but the positions for Heroic were stronger, and there was just so much on the line here for G2, who now have their economy broken. If they were able to save a few guns, then they could maintain, maybe getting a few kills next round. But now they've just got to give up another round where Heroic will just have so much more money against them and the ability to stay alive. And this is really allowing Heroic back into the game. So I don't know. I think you need to be quicker to save in spots like that. They should be dictated by your money, even if you think you could win the retake.
Borup's on the entry. First frag versus Aminek. The Zeus will not find a target. Everybody's here, at least for G2, so damage could be done, but Stown's dishing it out, and Borup finishes things off. Nice anti-eco there for Heroic, and as you said, man, you primed it well. The conversation of a comeback has to be had as Heroic keep chewing through these rounds. G2 will buy back. But last time, it was still that solid bathrooms to A play. Kadian setting it up with the kill versus Kenny S. Ops on both sides yet again.
Yeah, it's so fragile. Single kit, half armor on everybody, down to 0 once again, as they kind of wait for their loss bonus to build up. But yeah, we know it's just not as valuable for them on the CT side. So how do they take control of the situation? Well, we've got a long push coming into play, and these are the picks you need to go out for, of course. Kenny S, he absolutely must hit that shot if he's got no cover to fall back from. It's the risk you need to take, but you also have to deliver. There's just no 2 ways about it. And that's long control here for Heroic and a very weakened A-side setup. It looks like G2 are hoping and praying that it's not going to be an A play, but Heroic have done a good job of not just gambling mindlessly. Aminek catches a lurker off. How aware is he that there is long presence? Nice, he's a smoke.
Yeah, throws one back as of his own.
They're still gambling.
Yeah, I think Borup could just creep through both of these if he chooses to. Amanek gonna have to be wary of that. Borup, he's walking right in. He's right on the side of it. Nice play by Borup. The timing is not something Amanek expects because he laid down a smoke of his own just after the heroic one popped. And that frag right there, that could call everybody back into the A site. I say could because we're looking at Bomb linger along outside of B. That's the second missed Molotov coming out from G2 this map. Round, rather. Stown takes this initiative towards the B site, traded back, and all is good. Borup selling an excellent fake at A. I mean, just first of all, dodging Kenny's shot and getting that first pick, then alleviating the additional bit of pressure by finding it back versus Amanek. Very nicely done by Borup on the A site.
Definitely. And yeah, it's unfortunate because it looked there for a second like we were going to have one of those classic Kenny S games where he can take control of it, but we kind of are getting this like a call back to Nuke versus Astralis where he just kind of had one good round and then wondered where the rest of it was. But it was about Borup, and of course, you know, Borup pushing long, it's a calculated risk. Because Kenny S is dead, he only has to outlurk a rifler. Nobody else needs to be holding the smoke, and it's an understaffed A site. So it was a very smart play by him to try to make things even more confusing there for G2. Can't imagine how frustrated they are at this point.
Yeah, having been up 8-0, only to then lose 5 in a row. They are back into the pistols. Jax, timing does not work out for him. He's getting wrapped around that pillar, looks away, never has a chance at even taking ahead with him. Very likely 6th round here for Heroic. Not even likely, let's be real. 6th round for Heroic. So trailing by 2.
Yeah. I kind of want to like argue that it'd be better if G2 had some kind of contingency plan for when Kenny S makes a play like that. But it's a weird thing to argue for a player like Kenny S with his op style and his confidence. Like, you're supposed to be able to allow him to do stuff like that, and he'll put up, and that's how you win games. And that's just the way it goes. Once you change that, you really kind of remove any value that Kenny S adds to your roster for, you know, his unique way of approaching the game. So I don't know. I feel like it's just pretty much an individual misstep by him that here and there that's costing them rounds. And I would imagine he would feel like that too, if that makes sense. You know, I'm sure he puts a lot of onus on himself to take control of things, and you know, doesn't want to see himself missing shots like that. Why it happens is another question. Sometimes the bullets go in, sometimes they don't.
Sometimes it do, sometimes it don't.
Yeah.
Kenny S.
Sometimes maybe shit, but sometimes maybe good.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's where we're left off with. You're right, though. Just kind of leaving Amanek to float on the A site and hope that he gets a 2K to claw it back. That's not enough. It's not enough. But let's see if Hunter can be. This is a fresh look for G2. Putting Hunter up on party. He says, I'll do it. I'll take control of the game. And he's got Tess Slain peeking wide into Borup. How about the 3K? Woo! Gets them all.
You're switching now, yeah?
No.
We're all switching after that round.
No, let's settle down now. Come on. Nico just absolutely wrecked. There it is. 5 guys alive for G2 at the end of that one. It was 8 in a row, 6 back for Heroic, and a final cherry on top. 3 rounds the difference as we take our halftime break. Please don't go too far. We'll see you guys in a second. Came to a complete and abrupt stop. Mohan Heroic really clawing back this game, getting us into a nice even half. 3 rounds the lead for G2 as they take to the T side of their opponent's map pick. Heroic just bullying that A bomb site, besting Kenny S on their route to nearly tied game.
Kenny S is kind of menopausal right now. Okay, we're getting hot flashes, but we're not getting consistent warmth. That's the issue.
Okay. Sure.
That's the best analogy I can come up with for Kenny S.
Yeah, no, it's
at the moment.
Spot on, man. Spot on. MNX got the opening, though. So, quick flash in the pan towards this A site. And, yeah, the smoke grenade actually screws over Katie, and he has to double back towards bank. Bomb planted for bathrooms. 2 CTs out connector. Nexa, he's kind of behind them, but TessS just executes 2 players on the site. Nexa has to recover this. It is his responsibility, and he starts dropping shots. Now it's Heroic with a very likely retake. Amanek and Jax trying to stop it, but their post-plant side of this bomb site's been taken away from them. It's headshots for TessS and then some. Nexa let the timing happen, and Heroic will punish for it.
Yeah, well played. TessS is a guy we need to shine a spot. We need a telescope and a microscope to understand how this guy's brain works. He does play a lot of hard spots on this team. He has been recently doing extremely well, and I think as Stown said, when he's hot, he's got the best aim in the world. So that's on a roster with Borup, with Stown himself, with Nico, with Cadian playing against Astralis yesterday. That's huge praise for TessS, and we've seen really good things out of him even more recently. And so, yeah, nothing but praise for TessS right now for sure.
Watching him yesterday play alongside Stown was something special. You know, we know that Cadian's opping in itself can take over games, but like this double sniper's potential between him and Stown, and then you add in TessS kind of coming in with something special. Borup has incredible entries at time, and then, better Nico. Oh my goodness. No wonder Heroic's up there at the top. This is a roster that's kind of really coming into its own, taking the world by surprise in our online era. Cadian going to also be surprised by how close Amanek has gotten. He's on 16 HP, and Cadian's just dodging those first 2 front runners, leaving his teammates to clear that up. Cadian alive for a bit too long, and Borup slides in. The MP5 versus unarmored opponents. Now that's something nasty. But Heroic within 1 round of tying this game on Overpass.
Yeah, that's it. They have 0 bottom fraggers, and there will be a time where form drops. Like G2 looked like a team with 0 bottom fraggers for a bit, because it seemed like if Jax can pull himself up, then he'll never go back down. But we're seeing Jax slip a bit. He's at 3-12 at the moment. He's been having a rough go of it lately, and yeah, he is a huge reason why G2 got to #1 in the first place.
TessS love the aggression, not shy at all. First gun round coming out of G2, he throws himself onto the fountain, completely cutting off both of those peaks one after another. And it's crisp too. Minimal shots fired, double frag for him. Hunter's gonna hope someone walks into the crosshair, but now Borup knows exactly what's up. Bombs being brought back closer towards Monster, and I think they're just gonna try to smash into this B site in a valiant effort to keep their lead.
They have no grenades. I'm telling you right now, G2, they wish it was 20 seconds so they could just tell each other to save. 5v3, 0 nades.
They're going to walk into it, though. There's a man in heaven, 2 inside of water. I mean, not only are they ill-equipped for the situation, but Heroic so ready. They tried to crab walk out, tried to crawl across the dirt. Now that it's been spotted, they kind of hesitate, and maybe we are waiting for that 20-second mark to do exactly what you said. Call off this round.
That first half really did make me hate the new... Oh, wait, that opens things up. Borup comes to look for information. Players almost gonna die in the back. Things start to
further
open
damage.
a bit.
Nico's traded. That's good. It's still doable, but they do have a player just committed to the pit. It's down, looking the wrong direction. Hunter goes for it, but he turns his attention at the perfect moment and even doubles down. That's it. A bit of false confidence perhaps given as that successful short play almost gave them a massive opening. Good job by Nico to go 1-1. But I mean, TSS started this off so well and really put G2 in an awkward spot. Speaking of awkward, look at this buy.
That's all about aim, of course. You know, that's where Rain goes on phase. That's where Fur goes on MIBR. Kind of old, very old positions, but those are the ones who championed them infamously and played them the best. And it's, you know, you just don't have any support. You've got that tiny, dinky little fountain to use as cover. Apart from that, you've really just got to hit crazy shots, and he hits 2 back-to-back. But he did have support. He'd have a teammate behind him. I believe it was Cadian going for like the dumpster peak, the bin peak. But I wonder if G2, it was a weird situation where it looked like they're kind of saving, but at the same time, they kind of pulled back and then looked behind them to see if they were going to pull out a flank and then decided to commit into B. So not sure if they were really going to commit and hope they would win that, but it was worth a shot at that point when they got that opening kill on Borup. Stown also was within milliseconds. If his game sense, you know, timer didn't go off and didn't turn, he could have died and knock out those 2 frags and maybe we have a round of it. But G2 being low on money, low on nades, ultimately is what cost them the round.
And it doesn't get any easier. They are trickling towards this A bomb site. TSS will get dinked, so good damage being done here by Kenny, but he can't get the frag. That's the edge taken by Heroic. Double digits found first by the Danes. They now have the lead for the first time in this entire map. Remember, an 8-0 start for G2 at a T side that's yet to deliver, but is coming back in with their second buy. Will it feature an op? I'd love to see Kenny back on it, but at the same time, it wasn't really the key piece to their success in the first half. Decisions to be made.
Yeah, I don't think saving for it, I don't think makes sense at this point. I think they can maybe do it if they win a round or if they can steal one from Heroic. But Heroic don't have one at the moment. I think just, buying rifles. I'm not sure if it's part of the game plan for Kenny to hop on the C side or if it is just today after kind of a rough first half. He's a great rifler. He's one of the best clutch players, and I think that goes overlooked. But I think he can have just as much impact with the rifle on T side anyway. So it'll be cheaper. They'll have more chances to play this way, and they'll have a lot more freedom and mobility in the T side setup. They don't have to play around him and wait to see if he can get kills.
Good thing. However, they're not waiting at all. Cadian, he's going to get caught almost in transition. He's also not on the op, but rather the Yogg. He's got 2 players up there towards Party and a third one floating by Fountain. So the threat at the A site is real, and the stack at B is also. But now they're starting to move TSS back upwards as Cadian takes that long control. So trying to get a defense in place before G2 take all of this free real estate through mid.
Yeah, big fan of the way Heroic played the round so far. They got info on A. They only had one there. And Cadian took a small risk. But, what's happening here? Kenny has Tess is up beside him. This is one of the interesting positions where they may never see each other. You know, like it depends because Tess, he may never peek this. This is really about Nico to take this fight.
I love the setup. Not just bringing TSS, but Nico as well. Really gets them comfortable. Molotov down. Kenny, he's going to peek into the fire. Now the pressure falls on TSS. It's not 1, 2, 3, but 4 players ahead of him. Luckily, Amanek will finish off his frag by dropping Nexa in the back. Cadian. That's more damage done versus G2 than anything. Cadian is on long A. The other 2 CTs rotate upwards. Cadian's yet to be spotted, and he's going to find the back turn of Hunter. So the man advantage turned to the favor for only a moment as Amanek continues to fight on, but he is so sandwiched that he's pushed forward off of Optimus, and Borup, now trying to double back to find him, does get him over the edge. Kenny S, you talked about the clutch, and here is his chance. Bomb is halfway gone already. He knows Cadian's on long. Bomb tap from Borup gets him out of his position, and it's Heroic with an 11.
Oh yeah, Bomb is just over there on Optimus. So it would have been a super easy stick for Borup. That smoke lands in a strange place. I don't think they realized where the bomb was actually planted, but that's Heroic winning the round. And again, I like the CT setup from the perspective that like they were prepared for a rush B, and Cadian was getting just enough info on A. And then they end up bringing 2 over, so they don't anticipate Cadian to be there over at long as well. And even though it almost falls apart with Nico pulling out a nade when he's supposed to be holding bathrooms, they still it still becomes a close round, and Heroic have that extra man in Cadian out at long to be an insurance policy. So they covered a lot of options there. Really, the strongest one for G2 would have been rushing towards A, but of course they would have got info early, and Cadian grabbing an early off frag on Kenny S. They had a smoke down, so it's a relatively safe position for Cadian to be in. Of course, they wrapped Playground there. That was the one risk he was taking. But on the other side of the map, the story starts to change a bit. Jax gets a kill. Man, how does Heroic are what won 9 of the last 10 rounds? I think.
Sir.
Yeah, looking very even strength.
Actually, 11 of the last 12.
11 of the last 12. Daunting.
Crawl up middle. Sounds gonna find great timing here. Hunter, actually able to dodge those shots. That was an awkward one. He thought he had the kill, but then Hunter falls off. Dodging death by millimeters. Cadian, he's gonna have a lot of pressure. Misses the shot inside of bathroom somehow. And because of that, G2 very likely going to sink their teeth into the A site, but Nico, he's doing a great job of just staying silent, patiently waiting around the side of the smoke, and then throwing the frag grenade deep as Nexus position gets called out. Nicely done by Nico, but Hunter's able to best him as the smoke grenade fades, traded yet again to the man advantage, but Aminex not on bathrooms. He is coming around the corners of long, and that could very well catch the CTs off guard. Stoun's in the front of the boxes, neither one of which are watching him, and he saw that the defuse isn't being stuck. But now the attention starts to turn. The player's up close, and Borup robs him. Absolute robbery. Aminek played that perfectly until Borup comes barreling through smoke.
It's tough to see someone make the smart play and still lose, and that smoke was thrown in such a way that it allowed Aminek to get back into the round, right? It didn't land on default. He could spot the crack from long, and they didn't clear it, so he didn't make a noise. It was just wonderful, and yet they still end up losing because he couldn't hit his shot. And he couldn't get the kill fast enough, let alone get the kill and get away into cover. So that's a damn shame, I will say. But that being said, Nico, what an exquisite play. Coming through the smoke, out towards long, and then just hanging out there, not being overly aggressive, but grabbing a frag, falling back. And then Hunter tries to counter that play with that exact same position. It ends up working, but Nico also follows up with a smoke kill on the left side or the right side of Optimus. And so there's a number of reasons why Heroic, should have just been able to close that round even more easily. Now we're looking at another game where Hunter's top fragging in a loss. Nexa really tried his best to carry in the first half, but it feels like it's all about individual form right now.
Yeah, the individuals on Heroic are all almost even. 18 to 14 is the kill differential. Can't be the same for G2. Jax very much trailing behind. Tough match. Tough event for Jax, actually. There's still time to recover. We are only at the 22nd round. But Heroic, taking the lead away was one thing. Now growing round after round. Convincing at times as well. This is a flawless CT side thus far, for the record.
Yeah. So we see it's the kind of the same round here for Heroic. They're copying and pasting over the, one player holding in bathrooms, 2 additional players coming over late. But this time around, G2 are doing something a bit atypical. They've got a heavier stack towards Monster, 1 player on the A site, something new here. And I think Kenny S is throwing, what's supposed to be a crummy fake Tech 9. Instant headshot and tons of damage on Stown. That could win the round. We'll see what this means. Tess is going aggressive, looking to answer back, and it's 3-on-3, but the trades are coming out in favor of G2.
Yeah, Borup goes for the spray down, almost kills the man in the back, but it's Aminek with the health difference, Cadian with the sniper, Stown still in connector, kind of kept in this position by Jax. All Jax has to do, just don't let him out that doorway. Seeing as Jax is so low HP, he's just going to completely tuck. And if Stown comes into this,
He's going to find the kill, but he doesn't completely clear it, and that paints a dire situation for Katie and Mohan. It took them some time, but G2 have broken through. 10th round on the board, the first of their T side.
Yeah, he could have got shut down there, but just hit some ridiculous Tech 9 shot on Nico in bathrooms. Did the damage to Stound to make that kill for Jax a little bit easier. Yeah, really assisted them in hitting up onto the site. And Tessus does his best to try to get that information back going and opening the short stairs and shooting them in the back on short B. But it's a Hail Mary play. And Heroic join G2 now join Heroic in the double digits, which is nice. Doesn't mean they have a ton of breathing room. They still got to win rounds back to back, but at least they're in a similar situation to Heroic, where Heroic are actually quite poor, and G2 have full loss bonus.
And we saw that economy play such a strong factor in the comeback of Heroic's T side. You know, not to make things bleak, but again, 8-0 the start for G2. Heroic trying to take that same page out of the book. Cadian rattling a couple rounds, but not fully committed. And we all know why. We've got G2 just on the other side of this smoke. Short B control easily taken here by Heroic. Kind of feels like a similar situation to the last round where Kenny was supposed to sell a crummy fake. Now that responsibility falls on the shoulder of Amanek at B. They've currently mollied out barrels, so you can see Heroic dropping utility on that B bomb site, while, sure enough, G2 creep closer on A. TessS in the corner, has Cadian shooting over the shoulder, but they decide to fall back here. It's good to see that Heroic are understanding this is a fight on two fronts, that maybe that utility on B was nothing but a ruse.
Well, now they're actually quite far away from the B site, taking over long control. And this is a great play to make, but at this moment, it looks like G2 are going to move into a B exec.
That door on short's blown open every time. Kenny S almost gets the kill onto short, but Stound, he is stuck in short B. Because of the A presence, they rotated their B anchor upwards, and one of the two players from short had to take this B bomb site back, knowing that the execute could come in. 15 seconds left. As Hunter does get Borup, Nico's on top of the boxes, just trying to deny the plant. He's taking damage, though. TessS will win the fight on short, and the bomb goes down. Hunter escaping towards Pillar, caught off by the Opera in heaven, pushing Amanek into the clutch. Now we saw him nearly walk away with one on long. This time, his position unknown by Heroic. And Cadian, it looks like he's going to clear it. He sees the barrel stuffed by the sniper as Heroic find 13.
That was a tough risk. I mean, of course, Cadian taking his time, of course he will. It's just about how long TessS takes to come out of the choke point, and I think he was about to be primed to do so. But it's tough to say if that was like a good play or not. Amanek is fully aware that his barrel is sticking out. He's just hoping that the CT die doesn't come out to clear from that position. He comes out of heaven, and then TessS can be the one to die on short, and then he can maybe push to heaven where the bomb was actually planted for, behind Cadian, make it really tricky for him. But instead, Heroic win. It was actually not a bad round getting into B. The trades just somehow Heroic are able to pull out these trades where you don't think it's possible, and pull an unlikely round back into the realm of possibility. But from the setup's perspective, they were in a pretty good spot. Now it's another round where you're mentioning this door gets blown open, and TessS is happy to be here working it alone. It's the value of him on the CT side.
Ooh, nice angle on the nade. Kenny S and Nexa, basically 30 damage each. You know, TessS has been caught trying to fall back, but TessS has also done a really good job, T and CT side, of kind of screwing with players through this doorway. TessS is going to get aggressive, going to clear the bottom of the ladder. You know, short B, not even a part of the equation, but the longer TessS is given time to flank this, the more justified Heroic are going to feel in their hold. Two players also kind of scouting out that A site for Heroic, so they are very much piecing together this picture and coming to realize that G2 have one direction left, forward into B. TessS also not overextending either. Jax on the cusp of the bomb site, looking for the entry. Takes his eyes to heaven, moves around the pillar, smokes pluming, nades popping, and Jax not stopping until Stound puts him down. However, bomb has been planted. TessS, he's now come into his flank, and Amanex waiting inside of the smoke, so he may not know of this close position. TessS, when does he make his move? His teammates are already starting to make this retake happen, and now they have full control of Monster. Sure, Kenny S will deal with that flank, but he has to double back onto the site, killing the first player and getting stuck in the corner where Cadian takes him down. Heroic 2 rounds away from winning this map.
Yeah, Tessus is just he's just such a sick player, man. Everything was played so perfectly. He was limited on information, but the way he held on to stairs, first of all, he's abusing the fact that that door goes blown open. He can play by himself. He's able to pull off the big flank, but doesn't shoot it off too early. He flanks at a point where G2 have no choice but to commit to a site, even though they're just waiting for him to get the kill. Without TessS, the entire map is opened up. TessS cuts off lines on stairs for them to come back up. He cuts off the flank towards B. He forces them to think about their flank there, plus the peek on stairs. And of course, even when he does go for the big flank, he doesn't pull the trigger too early. He stands outside a Monster. Almanac is clearly paranoid for the right reasons, and still TessS is able to kill him. It's so frustrating to think about trying to outplay TessS because it feels like he's playing these situations perfectly.
And not only does he play the positions perfectly, but let's be real, his aim is so crisp. You know, he's constantly doing 1 kill clean and the second always at least the substantial damage. You know, 150 plus ADR every time he's finding these players with their backs turned. That's massive. It's really hard to deal with. So hard, in fact, that remember, G2 have only won a single round on this T side. Heroic looking for more of the same as TessS. Yet, ooh, to finish off Kenny S, but oh so close. Again, getting aggressive next to Fountain. And you don't want Kenny sitting on 4 HP 20 seconds into the round.
It's been his role basically to die on like first every single T side round. He's not had a lot of opening success, unfortunately. So immediately G2 attack the pain point, right? They look to take over short B and stairs where Heroic have had a lot of success recently, and just clean that out first. There's no one to be found, but there's already some damage dealt. So they take some punches along the way, and Stown punishes them for trying to lurk up short B.
Easy pickups. So far, so good. But Borup with a nade out. That's going to cost him. And Stown gets burned back into the barrels. He doesn't have any utility left. There's a flash and a frag on Nico. Stown just picking up at least the flashbang. Maybe he uses this, or maybe he just keeps his gun out, because with 3 kills to his name already, things are looking easy. It's Amanek to run things back. Bomb on his back towards this A site. He throws the smoke onto Dumpster and tries to close this distance fast enough, but the CT's 1 step ahead. Seeing as there's 2 of them, they're confident to push, and they're confident to close, perhaps. 5 map points for Heroic.
And they're just layered, right? Like, we don't even talk about Stown, even though he was the star player. He was like the singular star player of this team at one point.
Yes.
And you know what's funny is in the interview, he talked about how like him and Cadian have always worked well together because they like the kind of explosive aggression. They are on the same page. But honestly, Stown is not that aggressive. Like, he doesn't get a lot of his kills pushing and stuff like that. A lot of his amazing rounds are like these anchor holds, sometimes with an op on a site, sometimes with the rifle like we just saw. It feels like his teammates are more out there than he is some of the time.
Yeah. Although I'd say that, like, it still does reflect in the play style, man. Even in those anchor moments, you get those little micro bursts of aggression. He's not overly aggressive ever, but when he's looking for the hold, he will take that risk. You know, I can see why it's similar to Cadian. Like, omnipresent here on short, just floating back into the barrel side, going for the next peek, changing his angle, going into Monster, peeking back here. Like, he's all over this B site, dude. ADHD, he just doesn't stop moving. But it's so good. It's so constantly dishing out damage. Look what's left for G2. Minute on the mark, man disadvantage, 2 HP bars, oh so low. Kenny S, all that's left over, and the guy is still Molotov'd out of the bomb site. Short was closed from the get-go, and Borup seals the deal. That's a 16-10 win for Heroic.
Feels like they didn't even stand a chance, even though they were up 8-0 in the first half.
Yeah.
Crazy, dude. Yeah, that's nuts. I mean, Heroic did everything right. And the CT side, it looks like, you know, if this is a scrim and it played out all 30 rounds or something, that like G2 or Heroic would have continued to win on CG side.